Kylie Pope, and this is my subject knowledge for teaching practice-based assignment focusing on peer assessment. I'm excited to share with you a lesson I designed and implemented as part of my PGCE focusing on a Year 7 basketball lesson. The primary objective of this lesson was to develop their ability to shoot a jump shot using peer assessment. This lesson was based on the National Curriculum for Physical Education, which outlines the key goals for students in physical education at Key Stage 3. The National Curriculum in PE emphasises developing competence in a broad range of physical activity, encouraging students to engage in activities that challenge them while fostering the skills needed to perform successfully in competitive sport. A critical aspect of this curriculum is focusing on physical literacy, which includes the ability to evaluate and improve performance through observation and analysis. My lesson aligns with these aims by incorporating peer assessment as a tool for learning, where students actively engage in evaluating each other's performance and providing constructive feedback. Peer assessment is a valuable strategy in education, particularly in skill-based subjects like physical education. It promotes active involvement, a deeper understanding of the skill, and mutual learning. According to Johnson 2004, engaging students in peer assessment enhances learning by reinforcing their understanding of the concepts being taught. It encourages them to articulate feedback effectively, which not only benefits their peers, but also strengthens their grasp of the skill in question. In this lesson, students analyze their peers' jump shot technique, focusing on key performance indicators such as foot placement, arm positioning, and follow-through. Furthermore, O'Donovan, Price, and Russ, 2008, highlights the role of peer assessment in helping students internalize performance criteria. By engaging with standards, students become more aware of the expectations required to achieve success. They develop a reflective mindset, which fosters both self-improvement and critical thinking. This reflective process is particularly impactful in physical education, where real-time adjustments to performance can significantly enhance skill acquisition. Additionally, peer assessment contributes to the development of communication and interpersonal skills. Students must learn to provide feedback constructively, balancing positive reinforcement with areas to improve. In this lesson, I encourage students to use 2 strengths and 1 improvement in their peers' performance. This structured approach ensured feedback was focused, actionable, and encouraging. Here we see the resource I used in the lesson, which centers around the teaching of the jump shot in basketball. The resource uses the acronym BEEF, balance, elbow, eyes, and follow through, as a method of breaking down the skill into manageable clear components. The BEEF model is widely used in basketball coaching to simplify the complex movement of the jump shot, helping students to focus on individual aspects of the technique. As Rink 2013 points out, breaking down skills in this way makes the learning process more accessible for students, particularly those who may initially struggle with the complexity, coordination required for a skill like the jump shot. Focusing on one element at a time, students build confidence and competence incrementally. The resource was designed to be used in groups of 3. After I had introduced the jump shot and explained the BEEF model, students worked in groups to assess each other's technique based on these 4 key aspects. One student performed the skill, another provided feedback using the resource, and the other observed and supported the process. This collaborative approach ensured every student had the opportunity to practice, assess, and reflect. Research by Perez and Morales and Mendez Jimenez, 2018, underscores the value of such peer-led activities as they promote not only the development of technical skills but a deeper tactical understanding. This process fosters an active learning environment where students are continually engaged both physically and mentally. To further enhance the lesson, I incorporated structured prompts to guide students in providing feedback. They were encouraged to identify specific strengths and areas for improvement and for each of the 4 components of BEEF. This approach ensured feedback was meaningful, actionable, and grounded in a clear criteria. For example, a student might comment, Your balance was excellent. Your eyes were focused on the target, but try to keep your elbow aligned with the hoop for a straighter shot. These structured interactions help students refine their observation and communication skills while internalizing the key criteria for a successful jump shot. Sinkeloff and Hasty 2010 emphasize that when students are given the opportunity to direct their own learning, they tend to engage more deeply with the content by involving students in, in, uh, in by involving students in peer assessment. This lesson provided them with the opportunity to assess, reflect, and improve their performance collaboratively. As Hasty and Sinkonoff 2006 note, this reflective process can result in improved motor skills through more thoughtful engagement with the learning process. Moreover, peer assessment aligns with the broader principles of student-centered learning, which promote autonomy, responsibility, and collaboration in an educational setting. This approach also aligns with Torrance's 2007 principles of student-directed learning, where students take greater responsibility for their learning processes. Such methods not only enhance technical understanding, but also cultivate important life skills such as critical thinking, effective communication, and teamwork. By engaging deeply with the BEEF criteria and offering constructive feedback to their peers, students not only improved their jump shot technique, but also developed a richer understanding of the mechanics behind it. This multidimensional learning experience ensured that the lesson was both impactful and aligned with the national curriculum goals for physical education. One of the most notable impacts of this peer assessment approach was the heightened level of student engagement. As students worked in groups to give and receive feedback, they were actively involved in their own learning process, taking ownership of their development. This is consistent with the research of Perez Garcia et al. 2020, who note that peer assessment increases student motivation as it transforms learning from a passive experience to an interactive and participatory one. Students were not merely receivers of teacher-delivered instructions, but were instead key players in their own and their peers' learning journey. This sense of responsibility fostered a greater sense of accountability as students understood that their observations and feedback had a direct impact on their peers' skill progression. In addition to enhancing technical skills, the peer assessment process provided a platform for students to develop critical communication and interpersonal skills. As they gave feedback to their peers, they had to carefully observe, analyze, and articulate their observations in a clear, constructive, and supportive manner. This aligns with the findings of Ortega Alcala and Perez Puyol 2016, who highlight the importance of effective feedback in physical education. The ability to provide specific, actionable feedback helps students develop vital communicational skills that extends beyond a PE setting and into areas of lives such as teamwork in group projects. Moreover, the peer assessment process encouraged students to adopt a cooperative mindset. They began to realize that skill development in physical education is not solely about individual progress, but also about supporting others in achieving shared goals. This cooperative learning aspect is emphasized by Casey and Goodyear 2015, who argue that collaborative approaches in education lead to enhanced teamwork, improved skill mastery, and stronger mutual support systems among students. In this lesson, students work together to refine each other's jump shot techniques, demonstrating the power of teamwork and shared responsibility. Additionally, this peer assessment approach introduced a reflective element to learning, promoting students to think critically about the performance standards associated with the jump shot. This reflection helped to internalize the BEEF criteria, enhancing their understanding of what constitutes a successful technique. By observing their peers and receiving feedback in return, students were able to identify common challenges and share strategies for overcoming them, creating a rich, dialogue-based learning environment. This reciprocal learning experience reinforced the notion that success in sport, and indeed in any area of life, is often achieved through the collective effort and constructive collaboration. The cooperative and reflective nature of peer assessment of the peer assessment process not only improved students' jump shot techniques, but also fostered a positive, supportive classroom culture. As students worked together to achieve a common goal, they developed a sense of community and mutual respect. This aligns with broader educational goals of promoting social cohesion and interpersonal growth alongside skill acquisition. Impacts of the peer assessment task, I observed that the majority of students remained on task throughout the lesson, fully engaged with the activity. For the few moments when students became distracted or off task, I implemented strategies such as cold calling or targeted questioning to focus their attention. As Hayes 2020 suggests, cold calling is an effective method to ensure that all students remain engaged, even those who may not typically volunteer to participate. By calling on students randomly, I encouraged them to stay mentally present and prepared to contribute, which was particularly important in peer assessment activity, where active involvement and focus are critical to success. This strategy also helped to create an equitable learning environment where every student had the opportunity to participate and share their insights. I also use questioning to deepen students' understanding of the beef model and the technical aspects of the jump shot. Targeted questioning allowed me to check for understanding and ensure that students could effectively break down the jump shot into component parts: balance, elbow, eyes, and follow through. For instance, I'd ask questions like, why is it important to focus on the follow through after a shot? Or, what adjustments could you suggest to improve your partner's balance during their jump shot? These reflective prompts aligned with Miller's 2015 approach to teaching, which emphasizes the importance of questioning strategies in reinforcing learning and encouraging students to think critically about their performance. By questioning as a formative assessment tool, I could quickly identify areas where students needed additional guidance and provide immediate targeted support. Another essential element of this lesson was the inclusion of printed resources, which featured a breakdown of the beef model. These resources served as a visual aid and a reference point for students throughout the session. As they assessed their peers' performance, they were able to consult the resource to ensure their feedback was aligned with the key elements of the technique. This not only supported the accuracy of their assessment, but also reinforced their understanding of the beef model. According to RINC 2013, visual aids and written resources enhance skill learning by providing students with accessible, clear reminders of the technical points they need to focus on during a practice. The resource acted as a scaffold, enabling students to encourage more confidently and effectively in the peer assessment process. In addition to their practical utility, the printed resources supported differentiation in the lesson. Students who needed additional support could refer to the resource as a guide, while those with a stronger grasp of the material could focus on analysing their peers' performances and providing detailed feedback. This ensured that all students, regardless of their initial skill level, could participate meaningfully in the activity and benefit from the learning experience. Looking ahead, there are several strategies I plan to incorporate into future lessons to further enhance the peer assessment process and optimize student learning. One important consideration is grouping students based on ability. Research by Haynes, Fletcher, and Miller 2008 suggests that ability grouping can create a more supportive environment by pairing students with peers at a similar skill level. This approach could reduce the risk of student feeling demotivated or overwhelmed when paired with someone significantly more advanced or less skilled. Furthermore, working with peers at a similar level may enable students to give more specific and relevant feedback, as they are likely to face and understand similar challenges. For instance, students at a beginner level might focus on mastering balance and elbow alignment, while intermediate students could work on refining follow through and then consistency. Another strategy I plan to explore is the integration of flipped learning to provide students with a foundational understanding before they engage in practical activities. 7SLE2018 emphasizes that flipped learning can be particularly beneficial in physical education, as it allows students to engage with theoretical content, such as instructional videos, demonstrations, or step-by-step guides prior to the lesson. By doing this, students could arrive with a better understanding of the beef model and the technical aspects of the jump shot. This prior knowledge would enable them to maximize their time during the lesson, focusing more effectively on the practice and peer assessment. Additionally, I aim to incorporate more scaffolding during my lesson to ensure students can approach the jump shot technique in manageable progressive steps. As Warden Lee 2020 note, scaffolding is critical for helping students build confidence and deepen their understanding of complex skills. For example, before attempting a full jump shot, students could start by practicing stationary shooting to focus on balance and alignment. Once these foundational elements are mastered, they could progress to adding the jump and finally incorporating the full motion with a follow through. By structuring the learning experience in smaller incremental tasks, students are likely to feel more successful at each stage, which could increase their motivation and engagement. To further support the peer assessment process, I plan to integrate additional visual and digital resources. For instance, using video recording tools would allow students to review their performance and those of their peers, providing a more detailed basis for their assessment. These approaches, with the findings of Thomas and Stratton 2016, who highlight the value of video analysis by enhancing students' ability to evaluate and reflect their own performance. By combining this with printed resources like beef models and guided feedback templates, I can ensure that students have multiple tools to support their learning. So, in conclusion, I feel like this lesson demonstrated a positive impact on peer assessment in physical education, particularly in promoting skill development in basketball. The use of the beef model provided students with a clear structure of assessing their own and their peers' jump shots, which enhanced both technical and social learning outcomes. By integrating peer assessment, I was able to encourage greater student engagement, self-regulation, and communication skills. The feedback from students was overwhelmingly positive, but future lessons I will incorporate more structured scaffolding to ensure all students can effectively give and receive feedback. I also plan to continue exploring flipped learning and the ability of grouping as a way to improve peer assessment strategies. References.